Jesus and his disciples walked through the fields of barley, their hands brushing against the ripened grain. Hunger gnawed at them, so they plucked and ate. Suddenly, voices pierced the stillness. "Look, your disciples are breaking the Sabbath." The Pharisees stood in judgment, their eyes fixed on Jesus, waiting for him to falter. But Jesus did not defend. He declared, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry? When he and his men were starving, he entered the house of God and ate the sacred bread." Bread meant only for priests? Their silence was telling. They knew the story. They revered David. He was their warrior king, the man after God's own heart. Yet, David broke the law, and God did not condemn him. But Jesus wasn't just recalling history. He was revealing authority. If David could do that and remain blameless, how much more the Son of Man, who is Lord of the Sabbath? The weight of his words crashed down on them. David was a king, but Jesus is a king of kings. David led armies, but Jesus commands heaven itself. David needed mercy, but Jesus is the source of mercy. The Pharisees had no answer. The truth stood before them. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. And the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. They clung to rituals. He came to set captives free. They enforced laws. He fulfilled them. They worshiped David. But here stood the one whom David worshiped. And as they gripped their traditions, the harvest stood before them. The disciples were hungry, not just for bread, but for Jesus himself. They plucked the grain, feasting in the presence of the Lord of the harvest. But the Pharisees, they stood starving in the midst of abundance. The harvest was ready, but they refused to reap. The true bread of life stood before them, yet they clung to empty rules. Still, Jesus did not condemn them. He invited them. He invited them to the true Sabbath, the rest that was prepared before the foundations of the world. He calls the weary, to the outcast, to the ones who know their hunger. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This is not a rest found in rituals, not in self-righteous striving. This is the rest of knowing him, the Lord of the Sabbath, the Lord of the harvest, the one who calls your name. Will you come, or will you cling to empty grain while the feast stands before you? Love this? Hit subscribe now and turn on the bell for more amazing content. Don't miss out. Join us today.